In the Cinque Terre, your plan can fail before you even reach the first village. One missed train, one underestimated staircase, or one long pause beside the sea can change the entire day. The real mistake is not skipping one of the 5 villages, it is trying to give all of them equal time. We will use the railway to connect the villages, but choose only one worthwhile climb and one place where we can slow down properly. From the train, the villages seem incredibly close. Once you leave the platform, however, steps, slopes, and waiting times begin to control the day. And the easiest village to remove from your plan may be the one that changes the rhythm of the entire day. There is no single correct direction for visiting the Cinque Terre. When you arrive from Levanto, Monterosso is a logical first stop. When starting from La Spezia, Riomaggiore comes first, and the entire route can be followed in reverse. We are beginning in Monterosso because it allows the day to start without immediately confronting the steepest kind of village. Outside the station, the sea is already in front of you, with a relatively broad waterfront and more open space than you will find elsewhere. It works well for families, travelers who struggle with long stairways, or anyone hoping to include time on the beach. But do not remain only beside the water. Walk through the passage towards the old center, and the atmosphere changes. The waves become quieter, the buildings draw closer, and Monterosso briefly stops feeling like a seaside resort. When you choose a swim or a long lunch here, accept that this will be your main pause. Do not try to recover the time by rushing through every later stop. The first rule is simple. The route should adapt to where you are coming from, not to an itinerary copied without looking at the map. In Vernazza, almost everyone follows the same movement. Leave the station, walk downhill, and continue until the small harbor opens in front of you. The church beside the water, fishing boats, colorful facades, and the tower on the rock create one of the coastline's most famous images. They also attract most of the crowd. I would not spend too long searching for the perfect position beside the sea. Instead, I would move towards one of the paths climbing from the sides of the village, even for only a few minutes, and only where access is officially open. As you gain height, the harbor becomes smaller. Rooftops appear, and you begin to see how little land exists between the houses and the slope. Vernazza is not memorable only because it is colorful. It is memorable because the village appears to be held between rock, sea, and cultivated terraces. This is one of those famous places that becomes more interesting when you step away from its most famous photograph. When a guide helps you balance trains, climbs, and stops more realistically, consider subscribing for more routes built around genuine travel decisions. Where would you spend longer? Beside the boats or slightly higher up with the harbor below you? Corniglia interrupts the usual Cinque Terre pattern because the station and the village are not in the same place. You still have to climb, either on the long staircase or by using the local connection when it is available. It is easy to underestimate, especially during the hottest part of the day or after several hours of walking. With half a day, limited energy, or mobility difficulties, Corniglia may be the most rational place to cut. It is not an essential stop at any cost. During a full day, however, it prevents the journey from becoming a succession of similar harbors. Here, you do not descend towards fishing boats. You enter a settlement suspended above the sea, crossed by narrow lanes, small squares, and views that suddenly appear beyond the final houses. The water remains below you, and footsteps between the walls replace the sound of waves. I would not search for one major attraction to tick off. I would walk through the center, reach a viewpoint, and use Corniglia as the slow pause of the day. That is why Corniglia, although it is the easiest village to leave out, can completely change the rhythm of the day. Manarola brings you back close to the water. From the station, a tunnel leads into a steep lane filled with tall houses, small boats pulled onto the street, and a descent towards the harbor. Follow the path on the opposite side, and the best-known perspective appears. The village gathered on the rock with colorful facades stacked above one another. Most visitors stop there. It is a view worth seeing. But the central moment of the day arrives when you leave the harbor below and continue towards higher ground, using only a route that has been officially confirmed as open. Voices become more distant. The houses gather beneath you. Dry stone walls, cultivated terraces, and lines shaped across the slope begin to fill the landscape. That is when you understand that the villages were not simply placed along a beautiful coastline. This land was worked vertically, meter by meter. From the train, the coastline looks simple. From up here, you can see how much work it takes to live on these slopes. You do not need to complete a long hike, but you do need at least one moment when the station disappears, and the journey stops feeling like a sequence of railway stops. Otherwise, you may see countless colors without truly encountering the coastline. Riomaggiore is often experienced only downhill, from the station to the marina, a photograph among the boats, and then back towards the train. I would first look in the opposite direction. The houses rise along both sides of a narrow gap in the terrain, while stairways continue beyond the main street. The harbor is dramatic, but climbing through the village explains its shape more clearly. Riomaggiore is also the normal entrance to the Via dell'Amore, the famous coastal connection towards Manarola. Do not treat it as a freely accessible shortcut to add at the last moment. Visitors require a reservation, and the normal direction is from Riomaggiore to Manarola, although temporary restrictions can alter the arrangements. Always check the official information before visiting. This creates a very practical contradiction. The walk that appears easiest requires planning. Less famous routes may demand more physical effort, but provide a more direct encounter with vineyards and steep terrain. Walk the Via dell'Amore when it fits naturally into the day. But when the available time slot forces you to compress everything else, do not let one famous name control your entire route. Let the coastline and the timetable set the pace, instead of trying to squeeze everything into the same day. To keep the day manageable, I would use the train as the base and add only one different experience. The train connects the villages quickly and gives you room to change the plan when one stop takes longer than expected. A trail takes you into the landscape. You feel the gradient, the dry stone walls, and the real distance between the villages. But you need an open route, suitable footwear, and enough energy. A boat does the opposite. It pulls you away from the coastline and shows how small the houses are compared with the mountains. Services, however, depend on sea conditions and do not reach Corniglia. I would therefore choose either train and walking or train and boat. There is no need to fit both experiences into the same day. Once you combine trains, trails, boats, and 5 complete village visits, one small delay can disrupt the entire day. With half a day, choose 3 villages that work naturally from the direction in which you arrive. From Levanto, Monterosso, Vernazza, and Manarola can work well. When starting from Spezia, begin in Riomaggiore, continue to Manarola, and then decide whether to climb to Corniglia or replace it with Vernazza. With a full day, you can reach all 5 villages, but they will not be 5 complete visits. Choose one place for a longer pause, one for a panoramic climb, and allow the remaining villages to become shorter parts of the journey. With 2 days, the experience changes. You can divide the coastline, walk without constantly checking the time, and add Levanto or Porto Venere as a separate experience, rather than squeezing in one final rushed stop. Corniglia is the most logical place to remove when stairs or limited time are the problem. Monterosso can be shortened when the beach does not interest you. A second viewpoint can disappear when you have already seen Manarola from above. Skipping one village is not the wrong choice. Spending the day on railway platforms simply to say that you reached all 5 is. The train connects the names. The climbs explain the landscape. What would you choose? All 5 villages, or fewer stops with more time beside the sea and above the terraces? Tell me in the comments. And for more guides built around realistic timing, distances, and practical travel choices, consider subscribing to the channel.